Welcome to 1902, a global retrospective of a pivotal year. From the icy reaches of the Antarctic to the fiery summits of Pelée, 1902 was defined by scientific breakthroughs, political shifts, and human resilience. This video tells the story of 45 events that shaped the modern world. On January 10th, New Zealand made history with the Nurses Registration Act. Spearheaded by Grace Neal, this landmark legislation required state registration for nurses, setting a global precedent for professional healthcare standards and formally recognizing nursing as a regulated profession. January 13th marked the foundation of Riyadh. Abdulaziz ibn Saud led a daring raid to recapture Riyadh from the Al Rashid dynasty. This victory at Masmak Fort began the unification of Saudi Arabia, one of the most significant geopolitical shifts in Middle Eastern history. On January 28th, Andrew Carnegie founded the Carnegie Institution for Science with a $10 million gift. Its goal was to encourage investigation, research, and discovery at a time when pure scientific inquiry lacked dedicated funding. This institution has driven great 20th-century scientific discoveries. January 30th saw the signing of the Anglo-Japanese Alliance, marking the end of Britain's, quote, "Splendid Isolation." This historic agreement countered Russian expansion in Manchuria and Korea, significantly altering the balance of power in East Asia for decades. The first conference of the International Woman Suffrage Alliance took place on February 12th in Washington, D.C. Organized by Carrie Chapman Catt and Susan B. Anthony, it brought women worldwide together to strategize for voting rights, catalyzing a global push for gender equality. February 15th brought a revolution in urban transit with the opening of the Berlin U-Bahn. The city's first underground railway connected key areas, marking a new era in German engineering and urban development and setting a high standard for metropolitan infrastructure globally. On February 18th, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt initiated a landmark antitrust prosecution against the Northern Securities Company. This move against J.P. Morgan and James J. Hill's Railroad Trust signaled a major shift toward federal regulation of massive corporate monopolies. March 6th saw the official founding of the Madrid Foot Ball Club, later known as Real Madrid. From humble beginnings, the club became the most successful European football franchise of the 20th century, representing the early formalization of professional sport. On March 8th, Jean Sibelius's Symphony No. 2 premiered in Helsinki. During a period of Russian oppression, the symphony was interpreted as a powerful musical statement of Finnish independence and national identity, and remains a beloved work in the classical repertoire. On March 10th, Thomas Edison's monopoly over 35mm movie film technology ended via a U.S. Circuit Court decision. This turning point allowed independent filmmakers to operate freely, sparking a creative explosion and paving the way for the golden age of cinema worldwide. Modernizing industry happened on March 25th when Irving W. Colburn patented a machine for the mass production of sheet glass. This technological breakthrough reduced costs and transformed modern architecture, making large glass facades economically viable. March 26th marked the death of Cecil Rhodes, the arch-imperialist and founder of Rhodesia. His passing was a significant moment in British colonial history. His controversial legacy reflects the complex and often painful history of European expansion in Africa. April 2nd saw the birth of the movie theater with the opening of the Electric Theater in Los Angeles. This was the first full-time movie theater in the U.S., transforming film from a novelty act into a permanent, central pillar of global popular culture. On April 8th, Russia and China signed the Manchuria Evacuation Accord, arranging the staged evacuation of Russian troops. Although intended to de-escalate tensions after the Boxer Rebellion, the fragile treaty eventually led toward the Russo-Japanese War. On April 13th, French engineer Léon Serpollet set a new land speed record of nearly 120 km per hour in a steam-powered car. This feat at the dawn of the automotive age demonstrated the immense potential of motorized transport and fueled a global fascination with speed and mechanical innovation. April 19th witnessed the devastating 7.5 MW Guatemala earthquake. It killed between 800 and 2,000 people, causing immense destruction in the western part of the country. This disaster remains one of the most severe seismic events in Central American history. On April 30th, Claude Debussy's opera, Pelléas et Mélisande, premiered in Paris. This revolutionary work broke from traditional structures, introducing musical impressionism and an atmospheric approach that redefined modern classical music. May 8th was a day of global tragedy with the Mount Pelée eruption in Martinique. A pyroclastic flow destroyed St. Pierre, killing nearly 30,000 people. It was the deadliest volcanic event of the 20th century and advanced the science of volcanology. The Republic of Cuba was officially established on May 20th. After years of struggle and U.S. military occupation, Cuba gained independence, inaugurating Tomás Estrada Palma as the first president. This marked a monumental achievement for Cuban self-determination. May 31st saw the end of the Second Boer War with the signing of the Peace of Vereeniging. The Boer Republic surrendered to the British Empire. This conflict, known for its heavy casualties, profoundly shaped the future of South Africa. On June 15th, William Bayliss and Ernest Starling discovered secretin, leading to the coining of the term hormone. This breakthrough in biological mysteries transformed the understanding of internal chemical communication, founding the field of endocrinology. The Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, was renewed on June 28th. This secret defensive pact was a critical part of the complex system of European alliances, maintaining a fragile peace among the great powers before World War I. The Philippine-American War officially ended on July 2nd, declared by President Theodore Roosevelt. The conflict deeply impacted the U.S.'s role as a world power and resulted in years of American administrative rule over the archipelago. On July 11th, Arthur Balfour succeeded Lord Salisbury as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. His premiership was significant for domestic reforms and navigating the increasingly complex international relations facing the British Empire. Venice suffered a massive loss on July 14th when the 1,000-year-old campanile of St. Mark's Basilica unexpectedly collapsed. The event shocked the world, leading to an immediate international effort to rebuild the beloved architectural landmark. July 17th marks the invention of modern air conditioning by Willis Carrier. Designed for a printing plant, Carrier's system controlled both temperature and humidity, revolutionizing manufacturing and eventually changing how people lived and worked globally. The Mount Pelée mine disaster in Australia occurred on August 1st, killing 96 miners. As Australia's deadliest industrial accident, the tragedy sparked a global conversation about mining safety regulations and the harsh conditions of industrial labor. The long-delayed coronation of King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra took place on August 9th. The event, a spectacular display of imperial pageantry, marked the official start of the Edwardian era in the British Empire. On August 22nd, Theodore Roosevelt became the first sitting U.S. president to ride in an automobile. This action symbolized the end of the horse and buggy era for world leaders and the formal adoption of automotive technology by state institutions. A massive 7.7 earthquake struck near Kashgar on August 22nd between modern-day China and Kyrgyzstan. It killed over 10,000 people and destroyed thousands of homes, highlighting the vulnerability of remote regions to geological instability. On September 1st, Georges Méliès released his silent film masterpiece, Nimlé Trip to the Moon. Featuring groundbreaking special effects, it is considered the first science fiction film and a landmark in global artistic history. Paleontologist Barnum Brown discovered the first partial skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex in Montana on September 3rd. This discovery ignited worldwide fascination with dinosaurs and transformed our understanding of prehistoric life. Fanny Farmer opened her own cooking school on September 24th. Credited with standardizing measurements in recipes, she transformed cooking from guesswork into a structured science, defining modern domestic science globally. On September 29th, the French novelist and social activist Émile Zola died. Known for his fearless defense of justice during the Dreyfus Affair, Zola was a central figure in the literary school of naturalism. The first Borstal institution for young offenders opened in Kent, England on October 16th. Focused on education and rehabilitation over pure punishment, the system was adopted internationally as a model for juvenile justice reform. The first Cadillac automobile was completed in Detroit on October 17th. Built with interchangeable parts to high precision, the Cadillac set a global standard for quality and reliability in manufacturing, defining American luxury motoring. The 5-month anthracite coal strike in Pennsylvania ended on October 21st after federal intervention. It was the first time the U.S. government acted as a neutral arbitrator in a labor dispute, securing a major victory for organized labor. The Santa Maria volcano in Guatemala erupted on October 24th, one of the 3 largest volcanic eruptions of the 20th century. The explosion killed thousands and permanently altered the landscape of the highlands. France and Italy signed a secret neutrality agreement on November 1st. This weakened Italy's Triple Alliance commitments and illustrated the complex web of treaties governing European relations before World War I. The first Aswan Dam in Egypt, then the largest masonry dam in the world, was completed on November 15th. This engineering feat provided year-round irrigation for the Nile Valley, fundamentally changing the region's agricultural economy. Britain, Germany, and Italy imposed a naval blockade on Venezuela on December 9th to collect unpaid debts. This crisis tested the Monroe Doctrine and led to the Drago Doctrine concerning military intervention. The Nobel Prizes of 1902 were awarded on December 10th, honoring key figures like Ronald Ross for medicine. These awards continued to solidify the Nobel Prize as the world's most prestigious recognition for human achievement. Robert Falcon Scott, Ernest Shackleton, and Edward Wilson reached a new furthest south on December 30th during the Discovery Expedition in Antarctica. Their survival captured the world's imagination, paving the way for future polar conquest.